One of the most common questions that parents ask me about sex is, should moms talk to girls about sex and dads talk to boys? Yes, and moms should talk to sons and dads should talk to daughters about sex. Kids really benefit from hearing about sexuality from the male perspective as well as from the female perspective. Now, dads can play a very important part with teenagers in general and talking about sex specifically. First of all, when it comes to teens, they are too through with hearing what mom has to say about just about anything. Maybe it's because they've been listening to mom talk endlessly for many, many years. And by the time they get to their teen years, it's like enough. Moms have to keep talking, but at the same time, to be able to rely on dad to kind of pick up some of the slack is really important. Sometimes when dads talk, because they just haven't done it as much, kids tend to hear it more. That makes dads a very valuable resource. Another thing is dads coming from a male perspective. A lot of kids' education, a lot of their upbringing is coming completely from a female perspective. So a male perspective can be extremely interesting to them and very valuable. To a teen, mom's advice can really feel infantilizing. It's their mom. It kind of makes them feel like a baby. But because dads often are coming from a little bit more emotional distance, teens tend to hear what dads say a little bit more clearly. Now, this is an overgeneralization. It's not true of all moms and it's not true of all dads, but it's important to elicit both parents' support when you're having these conversations. Now, when it comes to sexuality, dad's advice with girls can be very useful. I'll often bring a dad into a session with his daughter, and I'll sit him down and say, tell your daughter what teenage boys are like. And after they get over the shock of it, they start to have a really meaningful conversation. Dads can help girls figure out who's a player and who's actually interested in being with them. Dads can sense these things right away, and girls are kind of in awe. Now, I'm not going to tell you that girls like these conversations, but they listen. The same kind of advice coming from mom would be like, get out of my life, you're getting too intense with me. But coming from dad, it's like, he's a guy. Maybe he knows what he's talking about. With sons, dad's advice is also really important. Boys are in a position where they have to figure out how a good man uses their sexuality. How do you take your sexual energy and know when it's appropriate to use it and when it's not appropriate? Unless dad gets in there and talks to them, the only thing boys are listening to is MTV and a lot of video games. And trust me, those are not the role models that you're wanting your son to follow. If you want to find out more about how dads and moms can talk effectively to their kids about important issues like sexuality, go to Dr. Sharon Maxwell, drsharonmaxwell.com. There's a lot of important information there.